Yes, so what's up? What's up? Welcome in, welcome, friend. How you doing? How you been? Now, this is, of course, again, we started this with the school district of Philadelphia and why they are closing schools that they don't need to close because there's nothing wrong with the school building. There's nothing wrong with the neighborhood if you let them be a neighborhood like the other ones. Anyway, that's a whole nother different story. So before we can get into now, today, 2026, why Philadelphia is closing 18 to 20 schools so developers can come in and build and new people can move in and live there, which is the same thing that's been happening since the 1900s and since probably before. But now what we're about to go into is how is the real reason that America created police. It had nothing to do with crime. I'm gonna tell you what I think it is before we watch it. I think the way that they started the police was because they was taking over people's houses and people's neighborhoods, and then people was coming back. So they were protecting the property, meaning making sure the people that don't come back and get their shit. That's one. The second one was to keep the people in line because they brought over a lot of people. You feel me now? The natives that was from here, they not gonna be going off to. I mean, they know what's going on in the neighborhood, so they can run off. But you got these other ones that came in that like they really can't run off, and if they try, you're gonna have the police to stop them. So I think that's what it was. A lot of the police was really there to burn down places, take over places, to really they was like a gang, I'm gonna say. They was a gang to go into the neighborhood, make the neighborhood bad, mess with them all, right? And then the government will come in and be like, oh, you want us to get rid of this gang? Sure. Hey, gang, get out of here. See how we helped you? Now you owe us half this land. So there's a bunch of different reasons, but let's see what they say. How y'all feeling again? The real reason America created the police, y'all. So now that's what we on right now. Let me just get to it.
A group of Boston merchants solved an expensive problem. They'd been paying for private guards to watch their ships. They paid more guards to protect cargo moving between the port and warehouses. The cost was cutting into their profits every single year. So they proposed something that would change American history forever. What if the public paid for their security instead? What if they called the whole arrangement a police department? That is not a theory, but documented history from Boston's own records. It changes everything you think you know about American policing. Because for the first 200 years of this country, there were none. No departments, no precincts, no badges, no uniforms, no one to call. The story of how that changed is not the story you were taught. Before 1838, American cities relied on a system inherited from medieval England called the Night Watch. Boston started one in 1636, New York followed in 1658, Philadelphia in 1700. The concept was simple. Volunteers would walk the streets from sunset to sunrise, carrying a rattle and a 6-foot pole painted blue and white. They watched for fires, listened for disturbances, and were supposed to confront criminals. If they spotted trouble, they raised what was called a hue and cry, shaking the rattle and shouting until nearby citizens came running to help. The watchman himself was not expected to handle the problem alone. He was an alarm system with legs. In practice, the entire operation was a disaster. Watchmen routinely drank on duty. They slept through their shifts. Some communities required watchmen to call out the hour aloud, not to inform the public, but to prove the watchman was still awake. And here is the detail that reframes the entire system. In many colonies, night watch duty was assigned as punishment. If you committed a petty crime, your sentence might be walking the streets at night pretending to keep other people safe. The person protecting your neighborhood might be doing it because he got caught stealing from someone else's. It gets worse. Every able-bodied man could be called to serve on the watch. But if you were wealthy enough, you could pay a substitute. And who did the wealthy hire? According to crime historian Gary Potter, the substitutes were often criminals and community thugs. So the choice was this. Your street was either patrolled by a convicted criminal serving a sentence or a hired criminal paid by someone rich enough to avoid the duty himself. That was the system. For 200 years. The constables who supervised the night watch were barely better. They worked on a fee basis, paid per warrant served. Their income depended not on preventing crime, but on processing it. The more warrants they served, the more they earned. The more arrests they made, the better their year. Nobody measured whether the neighborhood was safe. Nobody counted crimes prevented. The only metric was crimes processed for payment. This was not public safety. This was a business model. And nobody rich enough to matter was complaining because they had private security. While the North ran this broken volunteer operation, the South built something entirely different. In 1704, the Carolina colonies established the first formal slave patrols, groups of armed white men on horseback, authorized to stop, search, and brutalize enslaved people found without written permission from their enslaver. Virginia.
Wait, because I have to say this. Slave. They keep saying slave. No. To stop all dark people. And the reason why they had to stop these people and ask these people for these papers and different things like that is because some of these men were free and you couldn't mess with them. But when they started this patrol, they started kidnapping niggas, sending them over into other places, making them work there, work their way back, locking them up. Oh, that's when, you going to jail and you got to work it off. So I can be free and I'm walking down the street. I was never a slave. My dad was never a slave, nothing. I'm walking down the street and here go these guys on horses. Hey, you, let me see your paper. Give it to him. Rip it up. Get him. Get me. Throw me on a horse somewhere. Take me somewhere else. And I got a whole time I'm trying to tell them it's not me or da-da-da-da-da. They fuck around and cut my tongue off.
Virginia followed in 1727, North Carolina in 1753. By the end of the century, every slaveholding state had them. The patrol oath required men to swear they would search for guns, swords, and other weapons among the enslaved. That oath is the earliest known sworn statement of American law enforcement, not a promise to protect citizens, a promise to search for weapons among people being held against their will. These were not informal posses.
That is the same thing. What is stop and frisk in my neighborhood? When I walk down the street and cops that I never seen on my street stop me and ask me, what am I doing? Well, bitch, I never seen you before. Who are you? Let me see your ID. What you got on you? Stop and frisk. Let me see. Put your hands up. You got anything on you? Not. Hello, sir. How are you? Everything all right today? Okay, good. Just making sure everything is safe. And then keep it moving. No. We got to make sure everything is safe from you, sir.
These were organized, government-sanctioned forces with specific jurisdictions and regular schedules. By 1837, Charleston's slave patrol had over 100 officers. That made it the largest organized policing force in America. Larger than any city's night watch, larger than any constable's force in America, over 100 officers. That made it the largest. Charleston Slave Patrol had over 100 officers. That made it the largest organized policing force in America. Larger than any city's night watch, larger than any constable system in the North. The first professional law enforcement apparatus in this country was not designed to stop crime. It was designed to stop freedom. Now, here is where the standard explanation comes in, and it deserves.
Police were not made to stop crime. They were made to stop freedom.
A fair hearing. Cities were growing explosively in the early 1800s. New York's population hit 400,000. The night watch of 80 men was laughably inadequate for a city that size. Crime was rising, riots were frequent, immigration was accelerating, and with it, social friction. Something had to change, and the British model of professional policing, created by Robert Peel in London in 1829, offered a template. All of that is true. I am not disputing that cities needed better systems. The Night Watch was genuinely failing. What I'm questioning is who the new system was designed for, because the evidence points somewhere very specific, and it is not toward the general public. Boston in 1838 was one of the largest shipping centers in America. Merchants had been spending their own money on private guards to protect property at the port and along trade routes. Then someone realized the math could work differently. If protecting commercial goods could be reframed as a matter of collective public safety, the cost would shift from merchants to taxpayers. The city created the day police. 6 officers working under the city marshal. The first publicly funded police force in American history. Not created by a vote of citizens demanding protection. Created by commercial interests who found a way to make everyone else pay their security bills. The full Boston Police Department followed in 1854 with 250 officers. Each one paid $2 per shift. Their primary task was maintaining order, which in practice meant protecting property and controlling the populations that threatened commercial activity. New York followed in 1845. The state legislature authorized up to 800 officers. And what happened next should concern anyone who believes the system was designed to function. The officers refused to wear uniforms, not quietly. They organized a public rally that drew 1,500 people. Officers stood before the crowd and called the proposed uniform a badge of civility. They declared they were no serfs. They said that being forced to identify themselves as police would bury popular freedom. Some were dismissed for refusing to comply. They appealed to the courts. It took 8 years of bitter public debate before New York finally adopted uniforms in 1853. The first outfit was a leather helmet, a blue frock coat buttoned to the neck, and grey trousers with a black stripe. 20 years later, in 1874, officers still reported that wearing the uniform drew insulting remarks from the public. These men were hired to keep order. They carried 14-inch clubs, and they did not want anyone to know they were police. The public did not want to know either. Both sides distrusted the institution from its first day. There was no training. None. Officers were appointed for 1 or 2 year terms, nominated by the alderman of whatever political ward they lived in. If the ward leader liked you, you got a badge. If he did not, you were gone. By the 1870s, the Tammany Hall political machine controlled nearly every appointment in the New York department. Positions were bought and sold openly. The police did not serve the public. They served whoever had enough political power to put them on the street. I spent 3 weeks with this material before I could figure out how to present it. Not because the evidence is thin, the opposite. There is so much documented so plainly in sources that are not obscure or contested that the real difficulty is explaining why none of it is common knowledge. I kept circling back to one thing that genuinely troubled me. The Boston Police Department's own official website describes its history. It lists the dates. It names the Night Watch. It mentions the Day Police of 1838. All of this information is right there, publicly available on a government website. There is no cover-up. There is no conspiracy of silence. There is just a version of the story with the financial motivation edited out, told so flatly that nobody thinks to ask who benefited. You learn about the Boston Tea Party in school. You learn about the Constitutional Convention. You do not learn that the first police officers in American history were merchant-funded guards who refused to be identified and served at the pleasure of political bosses. That omission is not accidental. It is structural. The same way you do not learn that America had no birth certificates until the early 1900s, or that street addresses were invented for purposes that had nothing to do with mail delivery, and the structure broke down faster than anyone expected. 12 years after New York created its police.
Basically, they changed the names of a lot of streets back in the day, and they said they did it for mail reasons, for the mail people to find stuff, but they really did it because, again, what we talking about, erasing history, changing names to stuff. You feel me? So now even if somebody from, let's say I'm from Philly and I leave and I go to California, and when I come back to Philly, Columbia Street, it used to be Columbia Street, is now Cecil B. Moore. So when I'm out in California, if somebody else come from Philly and they telling me about how Cecil B. Moore Street is so much popping and so good, I'm going to be telling them how Columbia Avenue is so good. And we're going to be talking about the same damn street and won't know it because they changed the name. And the person Hussein and Cecil B don't even know that it used to be Colombia. That's the main reason why they did it, not for Mel.
Police force. The city had two of them. Mayor Fernando Wood controlled the municipal police, a force loyal to his democratic political machine. In 1857, the Republican state legislature created a new metropolitan police force to replace Wood's men. Wood refused to disband. On June 16, 1857, the two forces attacked each other on the steps of City Hall. Officers in blue fought officers in blue. Neither side knew which force had legal authority. One contemporary account described 5 Points criminals dancing in the streets while the two police forces brawled. Arrests made by one force were overturned by the other. Suspects were captured by municipal officers and immediately released by metropolitan officers. The entire concept of law and order collapsed into farce. The National Guard had to be called in. The State Court of Appeals eventually ruled the Metropolitan Police legitimate. 12 years. That is how long it took for American policing to descend into a physical war with itself. The institution was so thoroughly controlled by political interests that two rival power structures created two rival armies. And the citizens those armies were supposed to protect watched from the sidelines while their taxes funded both. Follow the money forward and the pattern holds. By the 1880s, NYPD superintendent...
All right, so that was just heavy what they just said. The damn police was supposed to protect the people, but they hired by people that got other ulterior motives that just really want to make sure that their empires is safe and controlled. So they low key doing what the mob and them used to do: get the police to take out the oppositions. So now you got two damn police forces in the city fighting each other, and your tax dollars is paying for them to fight each other in the middle of the street while the gangs watch. The gangs probably still robbing the regular citizens.
Superintendent Thomas Burns had accumulated personal wealth of $350,000. Adjusted for inflation, that is roughly $9.6 million today. Where did a police superintendent get that kind of money? From investments made on his behalf by Cornelius Vanderbilt and Jay Gould. Two of the wealthiest men in America were personally enriching the head of the city's police force. In exchange, the NYPD provided what historians describe as the ruthless suppression of unions and political dissent. The city's bankers, stockbrokers, and real estate developers tolerated police corruption because the police kept their boots on the throat of organized labor. Taxpayers funded the force. The wealthy directed it. The superintendent pocketed the gratitude. That triangle is not an aberration. It is the blueprint. And it's scaled. By the 1880s, every major American city had a police department, all publicly funded, all modeled on the same basic structure, all answering not to voters but to political machines and commercial interests. The expansion was driven not by rising crime alone, but by the need to control labor. Waves of Irish, Italian, German, and Eastern European immigrants were arriving in cities. They were forming unions, they were organizing strikes, they were demanding better wages. And the people who profited from their labor needed a publicly funded mechanism to keep them working. That is not speculation. Crime historian Gary Potter documents that fears of labor, union organizers, and immigrant populations drove the expansion of police forces across every major city by the end of the century. If your family came through Ellis Island, if your great-grandparents worked the docks or the factories or the railroads, consider this. The police force in their city was not built to protect them. It was built to manage them. Think about what this means for you right now. The structure has not changed. The badges look different. The training exists now, in theory. But the financial architecture is identical. Total government spending on policing in the United States reached $237.7 billion in 2024, according to the Bureau of Economic Analysis. The NYPD's budget alone exceeds $5.4 billion annually. In most American cities, policing is the single largest line item in the general fund. 40 to 60% of everything the city spends. You fund this every year. A system that began because a group of shipping merchants in 1838 decided their private security costs should become your problem. I want to be careful here. The point is not that police serve no purpose or that public safety is unimportant. That is an easy dismissal that avoids the harder question. The question is whether an institution engineered from its first hour to serve commercial interests was ever structurally capable of serving the public. One that was controlled from its first decade by political machines, corrupted from its first generation by financial elites. The night watchmen were drunks and criminals. The slave patrols were state-sponsored terror. The first police departments were merchant-funded, politically operated patronage systems. Each phase was built on the foundation of the last, not reformed, absorbed, expanded, renamed. You walk past police stations every day. You see the cruisers parked on your block. You dial the number without thinking. It feels permanent, like something that has always been here. But it has not always been here. For most of American history, it was not here at all. And when it arrived not because citizens demanded protection. It arrived because someone with money realized they could make the public pay for what they used to pay for themselves. The receipts survive. The timeline is clean. The names are in the public record. The question nobody puts in the textbooks is the one that matters most. If the people who built this system did not build it for you, then who was it built for? And if it is still running on the same financial architecture 2 centuries later, is it possible the answer has not changed? $237 billion a year. Same architecture. Same question. The night watchman's rattles went silent a long time ago. The 6-foot poles were retired. The slave patrols lost their legal authority in 1865 and reorganized under different names. But the bills never stopped coming. They just got bigger. And the line between who pays and who benefits has never been fully redrawn. $237 billion every year, taken from the public to fund an institution that the public never designed, never requested, and was never given the chance to build from scratch. It was designed that way in 1838, and nobody redesigned it since. The merchants are gone. The invoice remains.
We built a lighter that burns at 1,800 degrees, and retailers just told us it's too dangerous to sell. So now we're selling it ourselves.
There is a database.
Militias, the state militias were the ones that was going against the unions. And I was like, that's National Guard. So maybe that wasn't National Guard. It was their police. But either way, it was funded from the government. The government to stop the union workers from coming together and saying that what they need certain stuff. And what they did was, as soon as the people thought that they could do something and that they could fight against and get some rights, knock them out, bring in some foreigners to take over those jobs. And then once those foreigners start realizing that they need some stuff, knock them out, bring in some more foreigners. That's how America's been working. You feel me? Now, we don't see as much as the other foreigners that get kicked out, but you can see by how with the black people.
Database maintained by the Kansas State Historical Society that lists every recorded orphan train stop in the state between 1866 and 1929. Town names, dates, number of children placed, names of receiving families, dry bureaucratic columns, the kind of record that looks like nothing until you put it next to something else.
All of the orphan trains stopped in the cities that were burnt down. Again, they burnt down all of the cities to stop the history, right? They wanted to stop the history. They didn't want people to be like, wow, who made that? No. And they brought in kids, took out, because so them cities that got burned down, the adults went to insane asylums. They didn't die if they didn't turn coat and become translators. If they didn't become slave raiders, if they didn't become police, if they didn't become turncoats. And then those children jumped on a train and they just swapped. They'll take these children, put them on the train to this city that burnt down. And the kids that was at that city that burnt down, bring them over here or somewhere else. So now, of course, the child is displaced. They in a new place. They don't know nothing about the history of the new place. You feel me? And as long as you keep telling them the new history, they won't remember their old history. And that's just how it go. So orphan trains stopped in towns that had just burnt down, every single one.
else. I put it next to fire maps. Specifically, I put it next to the insurance underwriter reports filed with the Kansas state legislature between 1860 and 1880, which document every town-level fire event serious enough to trigger a commercial loss claim. Those reports exist because the insurance industry needed them. They're not dramatic documents, they're actuarial, which means they're precise. When you overlay the two records, something happens that I have not been able to explain away. The orphan trains did not go to thriving towns. They did not cluster around established farming communities with stable tax bases and growing populations. When you trace the actual routing, stop by stop, county by county, what you find is that an extraordinary number of the destinations had experienced a significant fire event within the preceding 3 to 7 years. Not every stop, but enough stops that the pattern stopped feeling like coincidence somewhere around the fourth state I checked. I want to be careful about what I am and am not claiming. I am not claiming that Charles Loring Brace sat in a room and deliberately routed trains to burn towns on a map. I am claiming that the data does not support the story we have been told about what the orphan trains were actually for. And those are two very different claims. The official history is one of the more emotionally legible stories in American social reform. Brace founded the Children's Aid Society in 1853 after walking the streets of Lower Manhattan and documenting what he described as an army of street children, somewhere between 10,000 and 30,000, depending on which account you read. His solution was removal. Get the children out of the corrupting urban environment, place them with wholesome rural families where clean air and honest labor would produce useful citizens. Between 1854 and 1929, roughly 250...
Let me tell you something. Those places that they took them kids to ended up being working houses. You ever heard of a workhouse? Well, no, workhouses probably was what they was doing in the cities too. But yeah, no, they took their asses to somebody to be working. They took their asses to them places to start building them up. So their asses was working all damn day.
50,000 children made that journey. The story has been told as philanthropy so many times that the philanthropic framing has become invisible, the way water is invisible to fish. But Brace was not primarily a humanitarian. He was an economist. His 1872 book, The Dangerous Classes of New York, is not a tract about child welfare. It is a tract about urban labor surplus and social control. Brace was explicit that the street children represented what he called a dangerous criminal class in formation, and that the threat was not to the children, but to the social order.
That's crazy. So listen, what he say? What did he just say? He just said that these kids that we got here, and we don't love them, and we ain't taking care of them. They don't have shit. They ain't gonna grow up to be shit. The best thing, that one of the main things that they probably gonna grow up to be is thieves and killers. So instead of really trying to reach them and trying to make this boarding home place for their asses, let's just send them to the suburbs so they can live with some nice suburban families. Y'all know what happened in them damn suburbs.
You're telling me.
There's 5 feminizing foods in every man's kitchen, destroying his testosterone. Feminizing food number...
The program was designed, in his own words, to drain off this population before it could organize, radicalize, or cost the city money in institutionalization. That framing matters enormously when you look at where the trains actually went. In 1870...
Because I'm pretty sure it was a lot of New York people. Shit, it was probably even New York people sending their child off. But they thought that them kids was going to where? To a nice place somewhere in the suburbs. And they went to burnt down towns. Please, oh my, I don't even want to think about the child abuse. The sexual assault that happened with these children. The stupid ass mental stuff that they did to them.
1971, Fresno County, California lost approximately 40% of its agricultural infrastructure to fire. Orphan train stops in Fresno County began appearing in placement records within 4 years. In 1873, a fire complex across 3 counties in central Illinois destroyed grain storage and killed between 12 and 20 farm workers, a number difficult to pin down because the workers were seasonal migrants whose deaths were not consistently documented. Orphan train stops in those same counties appear by 1876. In 1874, a fire that started in a textile warehouse moved through a residential district in Macon, Georgia, and displaced an estimated 400 families. Children's Aid Society placement records show Bibb County, Georgia, receiving orphan train children beginning in 1877. I checked Michigan, I checked Indiana, I checked Missouri and Nebraska and Minnesota. The pattern holds. There is an obvious counter-argument, and I want to address it directly because it is the first thing a reasonable person thinks. Towns that had recently burned were towns in active rebuilding phases. Rebuilding phases needed labor. If you were routing trains toward places that could absorb children into working households, you would naturally weight toward places with labor deficits. And places that had recently lost workers to fire or displacement would show up disproportionately in any routing that was even vaguely economically rational. That argument is correct. And it is also the argument I am making, because that argument means the orphan trains were a labor routing operation wearing the costume of a child welfare program. And those are not the same thing. A child welfare program asks whether the child was placed in a safe and loving home. A labor routing operation asks whether the destination received an adequate number of workers at an acceptable cost per unit.
So what he's saying is, when the kids went, they was like, all right, did they go to town B? And how many workers died in town B? Again, workers dying, burning, killing off the people that know what's going on. It's one of two things happening with these workers dying. It's one, these are immigrant workers, like they said, that's coming in from out of somewhere into somewhere, and they don't know how to deal with this situation, and they don't have enough natives to teach their asses the right way. Or they were the natives, and they separated their asses by names. And once the natives started realizing that they was not being called indigenous and stuff, they started uprooting.
The Children's Aid Society's own records suggest which question they were actually asking. Brace's organization tracked placements not by well-being outcomes, but by something he called industrial absorption, a metric that measured whether the child had been integrated into productive labor within the receiving household. Letters sent back to the society from receiving families were evaluated based on whether the child was working and whether the family considered the arrangement satisfactory.
So they saying, so when they was coming back and saying, oh yeah, we got the kid, they was like, oh yeah, we got him. And right now, this child is working in the field doing some good work. Thank you very much. And then people like, no, you sent me this child, and this child is crying and sick. Who the fuck is this child's parent? This child is a bad child. They don't listen. They do this and that. Mind you, they're children.
Whether the child was healthy, not whether the child was educated, whether the arrangement was satisfactory to the family. The families were the customers. Who funded the operation that served those customers? This is where the paper trail gets uncomfortable. The Children's Aid Society received substantial support from New York's merchant and manufacturing class throughout the 1860s and 1870s. Names that appear repeatedly in the donation ledgers include representatives of the railroad industry, specifically the Erie Railroad and later the New York Central.
Damn.
Both of which had direct economic interest in the Western and Midwestern territories where the trains were being sent. The railroads did not charge full fare for the orphan train cars. They offered deeply discounted rates that amounted to near subsidization. Railroads actively developing land grants in underpopulated territories were subsidizing the transport of labor to those territories.
And also, let me tell you something too. These bastards had these kids working in these war zones, right? So imagine they take over somebody's land and then they start building there. So the people like, fuck that, I'm coming back and I'm going to fight and I'm gonna get my stuff back. And then they pull up on these motherfuckers and it's kids. Is that an easy day?
Territories, disguised as charity. I found a document I want to describe carefully because I am working from a transcription and cannot verify the original at present. It is referenced in a...
What's up? Right now we're talking about these orphan trains and how they killed off the moms and the dads because the moms and the dads knew what was going on. They knew about the territory. They knew their own history. So they took them, put them in insane asylums, and the kids, they put them on orphan trains, and they took the kids to all of these places that they burnt down and displaced.
In a 1947 academic paper on the orphan train movement published in a Missouri Historical Review journal, and it is described as an internal Children's Aid Society operational memo from approximately 1869. The memo, as quoted in the 1947 paper, discusses routing considerations for the following year's placements. The language, as transcribed, includes a phrase about prioritizing communities exhibiting conditions favorable to absorption, with conditions favorable to absorption defined as recent population loss, active reconstruction, or demonstrated shortage of juvenile labor. Conditions favorable to absorption. That phrase was written about children. The 1947 paper that quotes this memo treats it as a straightforward administrative document. The author does not appear to find the language remarkable, which tells you something about 1947 and something about the century of framing that had already made the language invisible. The children who arrived were not told where they were going. This is documented extensively in survivor accounts compiled in the 1980s and 1990s, when enough former train riders were still alive to give oral testimony. They were told they were going to good homes in the country. What almost none of them were told was the destination town, the name of the receiving family, or any information that would allow them, if the placement was bad, to contact someone outside the immediate community. This was not an oversight. The Society's placement guidelines, revised in 1868 and again in 1876, explicitly instructed agents not to provide children with information about alternative contacts or complaint mechanisms until the placement had been deemed stable. Stable was defined as one full agricultural season, which meant that if a child arrived in spring and the placement was brutal, they had until autumn before anyone was obligated to check on them. Children who ran from bad placements were legally categorized as vagrant, returning them to exactly the institutional pipeline they had been extracted from. They had no legal standing to refuse the placement. They had no legal standing to contact their biological families, most of whom had been told that contact would harm the child's adjustment. The system was closed. I have been trying to find a single documented instance where a Children's Aid Society placement agent raised an objection to routing children to a recently burned town. Not to the practice as a whole, just one agent writing that this community lost its adult workforce to fire and that the children were being sent as replacement labor rather than as children receiving homes. I have not found that document. What I have found is a letter from 1882 written by a placement agent named Catherine Sellers working a route through central Iowa. Sellers writes to her supervisor about a town she had visited and was now being asked to revisit for a second placement cohort. She notes that the children from the first cohort were well occupied, but not schooled beyond the minimum, and that several boys were performing labor she would describe as intensive for their ages. She asks whether it is appropriate to continue sending children to this community. Her supervisor's response is 3 sentences. He acknowledges her concern. He notes that the receiving families have expressed satisfaction with the arrangements. He instructs her to proceed. Satisfaction of the receiving families. That was the metric. That was the entire answer to her question. Catherine Sellers continued making placements in that community for 4 more years. The economic logic explains something that has always been treated as a humanitarian puzzle. The orphan train movement operated for 75 years. For most of that period, it was underfunded and understaffed, running on the organizational energy of true believers who genuinely thought they were saving children. I do not doubt that many placement agents went to sleep at night thinking they had done something good. But the funding that kept the operation alive did not come from people motivated by child welfare. It came from people motivated by the economics of territorial development. And territorial development in the second half of the 19th century meant land that had been cleared, whether by fire, displacement, or population loss, needed to be repopulated with labor that was cheap, controllable, and legally tied to the land through the placement agreement. The orphan trains were, in economic terms, an internal migration program, the largest internal migration program in American history before the New Deal.
Want to flush out its swollen legs? Stop doing this first. I'm going to show you something about leg swelling that might surprise you. Most folks have heard about lymph nodes, right? But what no one talks about are these 4 lymph nodes right here, behind your knees. Doctors call them the popliteal nodes, but I call them O-pumps. See, lymph nodes are like water pumps that help move fluid around your body. And the O-pumps behind your knees, roughly 73% of all leg fluid flows through these pumps. Now watch this. When they're healthy, the fluid flows freely. But here's what nobody tells you. Over time, these O-pumps can clog up with sticky proteins, waste, and toxins, which backs up the pumps like grease in an old drain. So the fluid gets stuck and pools in the legs, ankles, and feet. Even worse, left untreated, this fluid can turn stagnant. That's why your legs swell up with skin so itchy and tight. But the scariest part is, this festering fluid can actually start to harden like concrete in your legs. Some folks end up needing walkers just to get around. Others end up on the operating table to remove the rock-hard buildup. So what do? Well, most doctors prescribe compression socks and water pills. And sure, compression squeezes fluid around for a few hours, but it doesn't unclog the O-pumps. Water pills might force out some surface fluid for a day or 2, but they're going to dehydrate you and could even wreck your kidneys. So what actually works? To fix the problem, you need to unclog those O-pumps. Look, I've been studying lymphatic drainage for over 15 years. Last year, Dr. John Gyro, top lymphatic specialist who's helped over 54,000 people finally beat leg and foot swelling, showed us something completely different. He figured out how to actually unclog those O-pumps without compression, water pills, elevation, or risky surgery. First, it dissolves the sticky proteins and waste so the clogs flush away. Second, it repairs the O-pumps like new, so fluid flows up and out like you're in your 30s again. Third, it restores normal drainage, so you're not back here in a month dealing with the same swelling. And it lets you finally wake up with light, comfortable legs within days. Dr. John's made a short video where he'll show you his exact at-home flush. Click below now to watch. There's no email required or anything. It's super quick and it's going to show you every single step. Listen, don't wait until those O-pumps are so clogged, barely anything gets through. Some folks end up needing lymph node transplants, and trust me, it's not pleasant. Up to 30% of people develop permanent nerve damage after these procedures. Don't let that happen to you. Click below now to learn Dr. John's method that's already helped thousands of people finally wake up with slim, pain-free legs again. Because mornings are for enjoying your coffee, not struggling to squeeze into your shoes. Take back your legs, your confidence, and your life.
Are you being left behind? Artificial intelligence is bringing huge job losses to America and pushing many once stable companies towards collapse. Take Gartner. It was once the whitest of white-collar firms, but now it's being destroyed by AI. My name is Whitney Tilson, by the way. I'm 59. I live in Manhattan with my wife and 3 daughters. I've spent the last 25 years on Wall Street after founding my own $200 million hedge fund firm. And quite frankly, what I see happening in our country terrifies me. As a
run through private hands, funded by
I let the other one go, but this one, he just wanted to start being
the industries that benefited from the migration. Aimed at destinations those industries were simultaneously developing. We called it charity because charity was the only language available for moving that many children without triggering a legal response. The moment you call it what the documents suggest it actually was, which is organized labor transfer, the entire operation looks different. The routing decisions look different. The burn towns look very different. The WPA oral history collection at the Library of Congress includes testimony from elderly Americans interviewed in 1936 and 1937 who grew up in receiving communities and watched the trains arrive. Several described the event not as a charitable occasion, but as something closer to a market day. Children lined up on platforms or in church halls, families walking through and selecting. The language is matter of fact, no outrage, no awareness that anything was unusual, because for those communities there was nothing unusual about it. It was how labor arrived. One testimony from a man identified in the records as J.H. of Pottawatomie County, Kansas, interviewed in 1937, describes watching an arrival as a boy of approximately 9. He says the bigger boys were the ones the farmers wanted first. The smaller ones waited longer. One boy, younger than him, sat on a trunk for most of the afternoon and was still sitting there when his family left. He does not know what happened to that boy. That boy, if placed that day, would have spent his childhood in Pottawatomie County, working land that had been through at least 2 significant fire events in the preceding decade. He would have had no recourse if the placement was bad. He would have had no address where a biological family could be reached because the society did not provide that information. He would have grown up with a savored past and a present defined entirely by the labor needs of the family that selected him from a church hall in a burned and rebuilding county. He would have had grandchildren. Those grandchildren would have been told a family story that began, for all practical purposes, with an arrival, a trunk on a platform, a farm in Kansas, no before. The orphan trains are taught as a well-intentioned but flawed experiment in child welfare. The well-intentioned framing is doing significant work in that sentence. It asks you to evaluate the program by the intentions of its most idealistic participants, rather than by the structure of its funding, the logic of its routing, or the experience of the children it moved. The structure of the funding pointed toward territorial development interests. The logic of the routing pointed toward labor deficit communities, and those communities had, with a frequency that exceeds statistical coincidence, recently lost population to fire. The experience of the children included legal mechanisms that made bad placements inescapable, information control that severed them from their pasts, and performance metrics that measured their value to receiving families rather than their welfare as children. Those 3 facts together are not a story about well-intentioned failure. They are a story about a system that worked exactly as its economic architecture required it to work. The burned towns needed labor. The cities had surplus children that the merchant class found threatening. The railroads needed Western territories populated enough to support freight revenue. The Children's Aid Society needed funding. 4 problems, 1 solution, dressed in the language of rescue. The insurance underwriter reports are in the State Historical Society archives. The Children's Aid Society records are held at the Social Welfare History Archives at the University of Minnesota. The railroad subsidy agreements are in the Interstate Commerce Commission records. The WPAI oral histories are at the Library of Congress. None of these documents are hidden. They have been available for decades. They have simply never been placed next to each other on the same table and read in sequence. I placed them on the same table. And what I read does not match the story in the textbook. The burned towns were not accidents in the routing. The burned towns were the point, and the children who arrived on those platforms, selected from church halls by farmers who needed their hands, never knew enough about where they had come from to ask the question that would have unraveled the whole arrangement. Where did you find us? And why here? And why now? The documents know the answer. The children never did.
Big retailers just banned our lighter, and
That's deep. But all right, yo, I'm planning on going to an open mic tonight, right? And it says that it's called the Moth Slow Slam. Slow Slam? What in the world? Is it a slow jam? Should I say oh damn? Or should I say no ma'am? I had one chance. My grandfather was born. Oh wait, that's the wrong damn thing. But yeah, so what we're gonna do is go to this poem that I'm gonna do tonight. I gotta find it though. Will's. I'm gonna just put feature. Did I say future or feature? I don't know how to. All right. Is this the one?
And your thoughts put everything in it. That's why
I like this one. Let's listen to this one.
It's not a small world, it's your world. And your thoughts put everything in it. That's why I can go across the world. I run into somebody throw that I ain't saw since we was children. It's not a coincidence, no. I call it the sickest sense because we don't take the time to utilize what makes us tick within. Cicero! I said it's not a small world, it's your world. And your thoughts put everything in it. That's why you can go across the world and run into somebody thorough that you ain't seen since you was children. It's not a coincidence. See, I call it the sickest sense because it made me sick to know that you don't take the time to figure out what makes you utilize and tick within. You're clueless. In fact, you probably don't even know what deja vu is. Number two is, all right. Number two is, speaking of excuses, and people without uses usually end up in nooses after going against the abuses. Now I know why niggas with attitudes are so ruthless. The youth gets this mentality from history. And who did this? It ended up the biggest thing in history. You get it. It's no mystery.
Honestly, how victims of poverty so miserably.
They say blacks is like crabs in a bucket, but the bucket ain't the habitat for crabs to be fucking with. So it's not an accident what happened when you the ones that put them there. Let me guess, what you expect for them to be shook and scared? No. So when the bloodshed, don't act like we the ones that took it there because we was just chilling at home and got took from there. I mean, they take you from heaven and strip you from all your goals and then throw you in prison and strip you from all your goals. That's deja vu, just be happy you know. And just know that your reactions are the only thing you control. Oh, I mean this. Believe in what you believe in and don't let them use your suspicion as a weakness. That's how they got Pop X and other features to teach you.
But that's not what I'm looking for though. I'm trying to find. I got a poem with a story in it, but it might be a CCP, John. It might be this something like this. It's not this one though. I doubt it.
I'm going to break the shackles that for so long had bound me to the lost souls in the ghetto. Can't be on the same page when we in.
For them to be shook and scared? No. So when the bloodshed, don't act like we the ones that took it there because we was just chilling at home and got took from there. I mean, they take you from heaven and strip you from all your gold and then throw you in prison and strip you from all your goals. I said they take you from heaven and strip you from all your goals and then throw you in prison and strip you from all your gold. See, that's deja vu. Just be happy you know. And just know that your reaction is the only thing you control.
I still don't have my phone.
I mean this. Believe in what you believe in and don't let them use your suspicion as a weakness. That's how they got Pac, X, and other preachers and teachers. You know what I mean? So if it's on, then it's on. Get your peoples. Get your Jones. You don't like me anymore? Well, I don't like you anymore. Yeah, I'm riding for blacks and I'm riding for whites. I'm trying to save the ozone layer. I'm riding on bikes. See, I don't try to be hype. I try to be nice. I just do wrong because they ain't assigned me no rights. You got it twisted. What the F is you trying to be like? You should be straight like you instead of trying to be liked, because then you'll probably be liked. And then you'll probably be like, I love myself. I'm so proud of my life. You see, I hug myself every day.
And
every night. Because I love myself and everyone else alike. What else? Oh, so before I go, I just want everyone to believe everything that they know and to know everything that they hear. Believe half of what you see isn't even half of what is there. We are living in a prism. There is a collide of frequencies. And the only way to get everybody on the same rhythm is to take away the secrecies. In the meanwhile, peace, peace. Speaking of peace, some people I be breaking their little heart. I said, how is that a piece with you splitting it all apart? You see, you got to keep it closed like this because that's the foundation for when it grow into a fist. You see, that sound decent. You know what I mean? I'll do that one more time for y'all. I said, some people I be breaking their little heart. I said, how is that a piece with you splitting it all apart? You got to keep it closed like this because that's the foundation for when it grow into a fist. You see, that sound decent. So when I say it's no town like your hometown, say, and when I say it goes down in your hometown, say, listen, low brown hoodie girl, brown skin pretty sad. I'm going down south and she's going down with me. My friend said I'm bringing sand to the beach. I reply, how preposterous is that? When you say that in your Jeep with a lot of freaking men. I pulled off like peace. Like I ain't got no time. Like I don't got no minutes. You see, I told you I'm a menace. And why you trying to rhyme when you ain't got no business? Someone told you the bomb. Well, I'm about to end it. See, I'm gonna keep it 100, but they tried to keep a secret that you are nothing, man. You aren't even decent. My city do one thing, man. You know how we keep it. Philly do one thing, man. You know how we keep it. So ain't no town like your hometown. It goes down in your hometown. Listen, I appreciate everybody. You know what I mean? Thank you very much. Just Instagram ILLZ, WILLZ in the meanwhile. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you so much for Ills Wills for blessing the mic. Please show your love one more time for Ills Wills. He's a new father. He brought his family today. Give it up for him, his girl, his baby over here in the audience. Yeah. Just so super excited that Ills Wills could be here with us this afternoon. I'm very, very, very excited to be able to introduce our feature poet this afternoon. She is our season 1 Drop the Mic champion. Please give it up for being our first Drop the Mic champion, first of all. She's an amazing poet. She has poems, very strong persona poems and pieces that really are very, very thought-provoking and passionate. I mean, she's just gonna wow you with the passion that she brings to her poetry. She was also part of PYPM, which is the Philadelphia Youth Poetry Movement. She was part of the championship team in the National Youth Poetry Slam Brave New Voices, the championship team from 2011. Please put your hands together for being part of the championship National Poetry Youth Slam team of 2011, PYPM. We are so proud to have her here. Please show your love for Sharmira Nelson Pilgrim.
Well, she want to be a pilgrim. Her last name the same as mine. Look at me. I'm chilling on. Y'all see me? Look. That's me right there. You know what I mean? Watching a young Nelson go do her thing. And my son is right there somewhere behind this man's head. I know this man. He cool. He's a calm guy. Like that, he got a smirk his whole life. And it's just a chill smirk, like nothing bothers him. Even if he frown, it's going to be like that. Like, it's going to turn into a wow. It's crazy. But anyway, yeah, I was in the crowd. But, like, I didn't.
Hello. Hi. All right. So, I'm going to present a few poems for you guys this afternoon. And I also have a book that's coming out. So these poems will be in the book. My name is Shamira Nelson Pilgrim. You can find me on Facebook. This first poem I'm going to be reciting, I actually performed it the first season of Drop the Mic. It's a lot going on in our world right now. It's unfortunate, but we have to survive and keep going strong. This poem is pretty much about the beauty of death and how we can sometimes take it seriously, but we can also learn to embrace it. I'm not afraid of living. I'm not afraid of death. I'm only afraid of living a life of death. Dreary and cold like winter. When limbs of life peel off of pale branches that stretch out far enough to reach the sun.
All right, I love her, but let's get to my joint real quick because we got to go. Because I got to practice this poem. Okay? So let me go here, and then let me go here, And then let me go here. Where my history at? Bruh. Where is my history? All right, let me just go here real quick. Cool, right here. It's my history. Oh, that probably was it.
I ain't seen him. Now he's been in my presence for 17 minutes. And I tried to shove him, but he grabbed me
From round and round, so.
All right, so here's the thing. Because we're going to do this poem tonight. I don't know. Listen, I'm going to keep it real, y'all. I didn't already take a sleeping pill because I didn't think anything was happening in my life. So I'm already tired. I might not make it to this damn place at 6:30. They only got 10 tickets at the door. I'm going to try. I might get there at, I mean, I could fuck around and leave at 5. I don't even know where it's at. Anyway, we're going to listen to this poem. My rap got to be, my poem got to be 5 minutes long. So let's go. I'm gonna explain to y'all.
Very good.
And Dr. Sweet.
I loved how you made eye contact with the audience. And each time that you pointed to a different man, it kind of evoked a different shade of what you were saying, right? And the way that you connected with everyone. That was very powerful. We really got that.
Thank you, judges. One more time for TJ Bash.
What I'm going to do to strengthen my competition is to use what the judges' critiques.
So the poet on deck is El Mekki. And coming to the mic now, we have Ills Wills.
The way that I will stand out in the showcase is by just being myself, being true to me, and letting everyone know what I know.
Can everybody see me? When I do like this, say peace. And when I do like this, say fuck it, or forget it, or freak it. But you get it, right? So let's try. Coming from the store with the grocery bag, man on the porch, I asked my mom, she said, that's your dad. I said, you sure? She said, of course. I said, he's not my dad. He said, I love you. I asked, how could you let me win? You don't know me, I will hit you with this effing bag. Just don't insult me, don't approach me, let me calm it down. Cause I was bluffing, I was sad, but I made a frown. And I tried to shove him, but he grabbed me and he tried to hug me. All I could say was, I said, coming from the store with the grocery bag, this man's on the porch. I asked my mom, she said, that's your dad. I said, you sure? She said, of course. I said, he's not my dad. He said, I love you. I asked, how could you love me when you don't know me? I will hit you with this effing bag. Just don't insult me. Don't approach me. Let me calm it down. Cause I was bluffing. I was sad, but I made a frown. And I tried to shove him, but he grabbed me and he tried to hug me. All I could say was, I went weak and I couldn't move. I just said, don't touch me. He said the fact that he's here now, it just makes me lucky. I wipe my tears and I put away my frown like, oh, I'm lucky. Yo, trust me. Listen, y'all, on some real See, I went 0 to 100 on his ass. Real fuck it. I told him that I would help him drown in a bucket. If his heart was in my hand right here, I would crush it until it was nothing, until it was dusted. I said, anything you got to offer me, I don't want it. No, I don't want it. Plus, I don't need it. 17 years I've been living, I've been breathing. I said 17 years I've been here and I ain't seen him. Now he's been in my presence for 17 minutes. Why do I need another reason not to see him? Prior to that, I was speaking with my cousin in his BM. We was conversating about fathers. When it came to mine, I said I didn't want to be him. When they asked me why, I just gave them 2 reasons. 1, I don't know him, and 2, no, I said I never seen him. So I need everybody to raise their hands like this. Turn them back. Inhale like this. Exhale like that. And slowly lower them down to your laps.
All right, I'm not going to do this poem.
If you want to, you can smile. If you want to, you can laugh. This makes it harder to be angry and easy to relax. If you was to go to the North Philly Peace Park, you would hear, we are platforms. We are platforms. Foundations, we are motherboards. Lights, just not in that form. And for whatever reasons, we are backborn. What are we white or black for? Or whatever we are, what are you that for? Whatever you are, you probably asked for it. So if you were smart, you would relax more. It's not hard, just relax more. Thank you.
Ills Wills.
All right, so I did 15. I didn't go that far off. I think I was supposed to go to 315 and I went to like 310. That's why they showed you what it was. I kind of don't want to do that poem though. I want to do this poem. It was right in the top. Who the fuck is Q Wills? He gotta get the hell out of here. It's like, no. I don't want to do that one though. It might just be on my page. Oh no. I thought I re-uploaded it. But I don't know. I don't got time. There's some Mama Gals. I just be looking any old way, don't I?
You see the dark line on this side, and then it gets to right where Pierce is, and then it hangs a right and goes straight up to the Freedom School. That's the whole half that doesn't get anything. 10 years from now, that will be the same. With just honor programs in 4 to 5 high schools. Bring back the welding, the carpentry, the plumbing, in those 4 high schools and make those pillars.
No, man. Let me tell you what they doing. They stopped the kids in the neighborhood from learning the trades, right? And then when the immigrants come in, they go to trade schools. And then they get hired by the companies. And then those companies come into the neighborhoods and they service your community. Because your kids can't, your husband can't. Before, you could call somebody whose son went to Bach and they will come and service you up. But, all right, I don't think I'm going to go out tonight. I don't feel like it. Then I think about it and I see what poem I'm working with. I'm not really working with nothing. So I ain't really trying to get down with it. Sorry. Let's watch some of her.
Expect women to ghost you after appearing to like you and showing you high interest at first. For she doesn't really mean anything when she appeared and seemed to like you and to really be interested in you. When she is highly interested in you, and maybe she is flirting with you, you become a problem. So you are a problem to her feelings. And these feelings about you need to be fixed so that she can perceive you differently.
They don't got no key to here, that's why.
And now she will be okay. When she is okay, this is a confirmation that the ghosting has already happened, and this is in the middle end game. It's not in the front end game, and it's not in the back end game. Because in the front end game, she will be too nice. Yeah. too kind, too excited when she's around you. So she won't ghost you in the front end game when she's just meeting you, getting to know you, saying hi to you. And it won't go to the back end game because what you need to do is to fix her feelings about you. The imagination and idea of you that she thinks you are is the reason why she has feelings of you. And she has to appear interested so that she can find faults in you. When she will find faults in you, now the perception of you changes from A to B. And now you fixes her feelings. Now your question will be, why can't she just date me long term? Because an attractive guy that she really likes, who is high value, there is a higher chance.
Listen, this is the thing. Whenever a woman builds you up to be something, they're not building you up for themselves, for you to love them. They're building you up to be the person that their friend or their influencers like. So if they do build you to that, they're not even going to like that. It's not even for them. By the time they build you up to that, they're not even friends with the person that they was trying to show you off to. I'm in the military. So a woman to get with me just to make somebody in her family feel good because they was in the military. Or because I'm not even going to get into it.
But there is a lot of insecurities with this guy. So if I am attracted to him and I seem to really like him, then other women feel the same way and they will feel attracted to him in the same way and they will even approach him in the same way. And that is too much competition for me. So because of insecurities, I can't just date him long term, but I can entertain him for him to fix my feelings about him. So it's not about him really, but it's just about my feelings about him. But if I change the perception of him, even though I might be wrong, that might or will help me to deal with the feelings that I have about him. Even though I seem to really like him, to be interested in him, now she will ghost you. This ghosting is a confirmation that she has changed the perception of you to really this guy. Here's the thing. When she seemed interested and seemed to really like you and flirt with you, there is also a chance that maybe she was ovulating. And at the moment, she really liked you. And now that you reciprocated.
Yo, here's another thing too, y'all. Y'all get with these women, or I might get with a woman, and she may not be on birth control. We may start getting intimate, and then she may, I'm about to get on birth control, blah, blah, blah. Or I might get with a woman, and she on birth control. Then she get with me and get off birth control. The thing is, birth control makes you like people differently. Like, you have a certain smell or sense of smell that attracts you to people. When you taking birth control pills, it suppresses and changes a lot of those pathways to where as though you start being attracted to different things. You feel me?
With the same niceness and care, and you approach her, you changed the feelings about you, and that changed the whole perception of you. So women need to feel about you first before they perceive you. Women need to feel something about you before they perceive you. And when they perceive in a certain way, they will do something so that they can again feel something to change that perception of you. They can't just change instantly, logically, and use logistics and data and say, he is a good man, he is a provider, he can be a nice guy, he can treat me well, and he can really love me. No, I feel attracted to him, but then something just changed. I just don't like his energy. This is the only reason that can convince me to dislike you and ghost you so that I can't date you long term. Yet maybe there is a possibility that I might sleep with you. So 99% of the women who seem to like you, to be really interested in you, even though they are the women with high interest, and it will be easier to pursue these women, most of the time, it doesn't really into a long-term relationship. Seeming interested means I need to find something that will make me dislike your personality so that I can feel attracted to you, yes, but because I don't like your personality, you can fix those feelings about me. Can you do that? So that is why when she will seem to like you in the front end game, she will appear innocent, okay? And this is to every single lady. She's really a good lady. She will never leave me. She's really nice and she is open. And maybe this shows she is intelligent. She actually told me that she is attracted to me and she really likes me. This is a very intelligent lady to you. And she is actually innocent at the same time. She knows nothing about dating and men. Even though she has dated men in her past, she seems to be nice, kind, and somehow innocent. We have to seem and appear innocent in your eyes so that you can really trust us, so that you can think that we will never walk away. But this is an influence to your feelings so that you can think that she really likes you when it's just how she feels about you. But she wants you to fall in love with her. When you fall in love with her, now you risk the chances of lowering your sexual market value. When you lower your sexual market value, it is a confirmation that she can never date you because you are low value. You have to be in love for you to have a low sexual market value, which will confirm low value. I can't date down, I have to date up. But this is her finding reasons to disqualify you. So expect women to ghost you, dump you, leave you after they seem and appear interested in you at first, and they are always excited when they meet with you. Appearing to be this person convinces you to reciprocate and fall in love. She needs to convince you that.
That's crazy. Damn, they trying to say that the buildings was actually built before the pyramids. That's crazy. You know what, though? I'll tell you this. What if the pyramids is just some of the piles? Like, they would put all the shit there. Yeah, I would not buy a new car now.
Welcome to the barbecue. My name's Jeff and I'm your chef, and welcome to another edition of What We Do as Adults When We're Not Doing Content.
Before that, you see the sunlight hitting off the beamer. That is clean right there, man. Look at that. That is nice.
This will have on the business is probably about 10 to 20%, which is not a lot. It might cost us
problems. You're the only person doing it all. You need to expand.
All right, I don't care. He basically telling people that you need a team when you do what you do. On the way to the steppers. Wait, he looked familiar, bro. No, that's not the person I'm talking about, though. What?
Stepper, stopper, mover, pusher, order 70, fixer her, torture her, camper her, sender her, rapper her, uniform. I say all the time, you can't be affiliated, associated, related, or next to the driller, stepper, stompers. Because when them niggas come to bend, come to spin, come to lay some shit down, they say, hey, which one of y'all was dissing us? No, because we got to come kill y'all niggas.
Oh, yeah, because they talking about, so apparently a woman got shot, and they walked down on her.
No, everybody that's out there that look like y'all got to lay the fuck down. And I'm sorry it had to be this little girl. However, this is the consequence repercussions. Y'all should probably wear something else. It's a lot of clothes in the world. Why the fuck y'all only wear that shit? However, Paramount's Lexus has 4 suspects sought in Philadelphia triple shooting that left innocent bystander dead. Didn't even shoot the motherfucker they came to shoot. Just shooting anybody. However, I do want to send my condolences to the family again. Rest in peace to this young lady. I'm sorry you had to go through that. For future references, all the kids, because, of course, clearly she's on the LMNOP side. So if you are, you don't gotta dress like these stupid ass niggas. The fuck? That is a uniform. However, I'm gonna go ahead and send it over to the sister company. Take it away, please. Nancy.
There are new details in a deadly shooting out of West Philadelphia as we learn more about the victim, 20-year-old Amani Ringgold. And Jen, you spoke with her grandmother today.
Yeah, Don, a grandmother who is beyond devastated.
I knew a guy named Ringgold, though. I'll tell you the story about him. He is the reason why my girl cheated on me when I was 13. That nigga name was Dion. Big, dark skinned, fucking big ass, muscle ass nigga. He was like 15. I was 13. And so was she. The things they did. And I don't know what they did, but I know that they did something. He was in there. Somebody told me that. So, hey, it is what it is. Mind you, it was one of them situations where the mom hated me. I couldn't come around, but this nigga ended up inside the house. Telling you, nice guys finish last. And that was the last time I was a nice ass.
Amani Ringgold lived with her grandmother, was actually on the phone with her saying she was on her way home when she was shot and killed in a case that police say is likely a case of mistaken identity.
But Dion, it was funny, right? Because Dion would come through and he was kind of like an enforcer type of person. So he was just like either bully or just try to be the alpha guy everywhere he was at. Around me, I'm malleable. Like you can, all that stuff just fly right by me. Like I don't care. Like, you know, everybody else, he'll be chumping and stuff like that. But whenever I was around my homie, Azim, rest in peace, he died on the corner. He died fighting for his little brother that was in high school that had a girlfriend in high school, but she had a boyfriend that was not in high school. The boyfriend was like 25. The boyfriend didn't like how close they was. I don't know if he was picking on her or if he was trying to get with her. But she told the boyfriend found Azim's little brother, which is not Samaj. I mean, Iman. Something. I'm going to remember it. But his little brother. And then he came over there to fight the 25-year-old boy, like, yo, why you over here fighting my little brother? And the 25-year-old boy shot him. So to just go to show, like, these cowards fucking with these kids. That's all they want to do. Cowards fucking with kids. I hate it. You feel me? I hate it pulling up or when they pulled up to the schools and niggas was getting in and shouldn't have been getting in, Duke girls was getting in and shouldn't have been getting in, and it's just like, damn, like you could just see it. But anyway, that's how that went. But yeah, but when he was around Azim, though, he was all nice. I used to be like, Azim, how come he's so nice every time he around you? And when you around, he was like, because he know I got all these brothers. One of my brothers would get his head. I was like, oh, so he know who to fuck with. But at the same time, though, it was just more of probably a respect type time. Like, I fuck with him. I hope he's still alive. Let me look him up real quick.
Kennedy.
Can't eat, can't sleep. Every time I close my eyes, I just keep hearing it over and over again.
A heartbroken Deetra Bynum says she can't shake the gut-wrenching moment when she heard her eldest granddaughter slain on a city street.
I was on the phone with her and she was like, I'm coming home. I heard everything. That's why I'm saying, Lord, please take the sound out my head.
The shooting that also injured 2 additional victims happened at 60th and Market Streets shortly before 6:30 p.m. Tuesday. Family members say 20-year-old Imani Ringgold was wrapping up her 3rd day on the job working for a home health care company. She was grabbing a slice of pizza when she was killed.
We believe they were firing at people in that crowd. We believe Ms. Ringgold was in the intended target and an innocent victim in this case.
Philadelphia police now announcing the arrest warrants for 26.
Make some noise for the losers! What?
No, bro.
Yeah, we be so proud of you niggas. You niggas ain't got no dreams, no goals, no aspirations. Ain't trying to be nothing in life. Ain't trying to make no money.
Shut up.
Ain't trying to fuck no bitch. Welcome, nigga. Nowadays, last time I used to think people wanted to make their mind. Welcome to the stupid shit, nigga. And to you.
6-year-old Mustafa King and 21-year-old Zaire Manning. Police say 2 additional suspects are seen in these surveillance photos, all wanted in connection.
All right, well, it's not the person who I thought it was, because the person who I thought it was would not be 21 or what was the other age?
6-year-old Mustafa King and 21-year-old Zaire Manning. 6-year-old Mustafa King and 21-year-old Zaire Manning. Police say 2 additional suspects are seen in these surveillance photos, all wanted in connection with the deadly shooting, and police are asking for the public's help tracking them down. Investigators say they recovered the car the 4 suspects were traveling in when they opened fire, but now police need help identifying a second vehicle they might be using.
There's a car that we believe they got into after they left that location. They were not there when we got to the house.
Members of the victim's family showed up ahead of a police press conference this afternoon to reiterate that Ringgold was a good kid who loved life and loved her family.
She just wanted to do good, be good. She treated people how she wanted to be treated. She joked a lot.
They say Ringgold was just accepted at Community College of Philadelphia, planning a career in HVAC and electrical work. A bright young future stolen.
Damn!
That's what I'm saying. And she was so smart. Because that's what we was just saying. Like, niggas don't got trades. All right, but I just want to make sure that
nigga, you need to see who you spanking. Just stupid ass. However, and Mustafa King have both been identified as the shooters in the deadly triple shooting on 58th and Market earlier this week. First of all, these niggas so crazy. Like, Market Street? Hey, you always try to kill niggas on Market Street and they caught you all this quick regardless. Even if you shot the right nigga, they was gonna catch you this fast. That's crazy, or identify you because it's 4K, high resolution, Ultra HD detectives out there, motherfucker. I don't know why y'all niggas. Is my camera clear? Can y'all see me clear? Let me ask it. Chat, can y'all see me clear? Is my camera right here clear as shit? Let me know, or is it blurry? Because if it's blurry, I may be wrong. But if my shit clear, this an iPhone, nigga. This is a fucking iPhone that's recording me. So imagine a camera that's supposed to secure the premises. Nigga, 4K. Yeah, I'm gonna see everything you had on that day. Them niggas walked y'all back to your crib. You understand this? But y'all niggas don't understand how cameras work. So the next slide is Mr. Barack Old Drama. Nigga, you should have ran for president. He look like Barack Obama to me, like a young version. Maybe I'm fucked up. Maybe I don't know what Barack Obama look like no more. However, welcome. Yeah, we got a lot of space, a lot of place for you niggas. However, I hope, I pray, I wish y'all did everything that y'all wanted to do. Yep. Because now you absolutely positively gotta get gripped up, sat down, introduce the whole how you doing, Unc? Yeah, Gramp says she want him to rot in hell. But you know you gotta slap the fuck right out of their stupid ass first. Then they can rot in hell. You feel me? They gotta get boot ass and Petersville, Smithville, Campbell, Forest, Rockview, Albert, Chester, Monroe, Frettville, Green, Somerset, Pineville. What a recreational sentence we do. Call us and let us know why y'all ain't do no homework. I just out there shooting at anybody with y'all stupid ass. Fuck is wrong? Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with this. And them niggas was young. Y'all did not look young. Stepping aged the fuck out of you. I don't want to be a stepper. Y'all niggas look 40. That nigga looked like he was eligible to run for president. Nigga, 57 years old. However, in the news, we at South Philly shenanigans. If you don't know what South Philly shenanigans is, it's actually absolutely positive 100% when you get lined up in South Philly. And it's not funny, but I think, like, how come on? How everything always go bad in South Philly? Y'all used to line niggas up. Y'all probably still line niggas up. I feel like y'all lined them up because how y'all build.
All right. Yeah, so that's crazy. They told the public orphans the records tell a different story. Wait. Let me see. I saw the Samuel Seaboard. All right, I'm gonna go to sleep. This is a good one too. Who is she? She look all pretty. You know I like them dark skinned Jones. But they, I ain't gonna tell you why. They fear you. All right, I'm out of here. Season 9, Season 7. Fuck them.